The president was at the PICC to lead the 2024 Government-Owned or Controlled Corporations or GOCCs Day. During the program, 47 GOCCs remitted a total of 88.56 billion pesos to the national government from their dividends as of May 2024. This is an 11-fold increase from the 8 billion pesos recorded during the same period last year, according to the Department of Finance. The Land Bank of the Philippines remitted the highest amount with 32.1 billion pesos, followed by the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation with 10.7 billion pesos and the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas with 9.2 billion pesos. In his speech, Marcos Jr. lauded the contribution of GOCCs to the country as he assured that the remittances will be used to improve the lives of the Filipino people. He says that the remittances will be invested back to growth-inducing activities that will create jobs and harness opportunities. The president also expressed confidence that the GOCCs are on track to surpass 2023's unprecedented remittance of 100 billion pesos to the government. GOCCs are required by law to declare and remit at least 50% of their annual net earnings as dividends to the national government. The DOF says that this year the GOCCs stepped up by not only remitting their expected contributions on time, but by also increasing their dividend payments from 50% to 75% of their earnings in 2023. Ermina.
Thanks a lot. Pia Gutierrez there joining us on the line.
Mga boss, ngayong buwan, tataas na naman yung singil sa bill ng kuryente. Sabi ng Meralco, additional 2 pesos yan per kilowatt hour. O nangangahulugan yan na additional 430 pesos doon sa buwanang electricity bill natin. Pero pansin nyo ba na lagi na lang tumataas yung singil sa kuryente tapos parang walang magawa yung gobyerno natin? Parang inutil yung gobyerno natin pagdating sa pagkontrol ng presyo ng kuryente. Pag-usapan natin yan. Alam nyo mga boss, bago mag-1986, yung generation, transmission, tsaka distribution ng kuryente sa buong bansa, gobyernong nagmamay-ari o kumokontrol niyan. Yan yung napukor na tinatawag natin, yung National Power Corporation. Ngayon, nung pagdating ng Administrasyong Cory Aquino, ni-reverse niya yan. Yung power distribution from government-controlled, binigay niya ngayon sa malalaking kumpanya, yung pribadong sektor. Tapos inisyo niya yung Executive Order number 215 kung saan tinanggal sa napokor yung control o yung monopolyo doon sa kuryente at in-entertain yung mga tinatawag natin ng mga Independent Power Producers o IPPs. So edi yan na, no? From government-controlled yung kuryente natin, pumasok na ngayon yung mga Independent Power Producers o yung pribadong sektor. Ngayon, noong 1990, sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Ramos, dumaan sa power crisis yung Luzon at Mindanao. Sa Luzon, 8 to 10 hours yung rotating brownout. Sa Mindanao, at that time, El Nino rin noon, hindi makapag-produce ng power yung mga hydroelectric plants natin. So, around 10 to 12 hours yung power outages rotating all throughout the island. Ngayon, dahil naharap sa ganyang kalaking problema, yung Administrasyong Ramos, pinasa yung Power Crisis Act of 1993, kung saan pinapayagan nito yung executive na pumasok sa mga negotiation o kontrata para mapabilis yung pagtatayo at pagre-repair ng mga power plants. Ngayon, noong 2001, sa administrasyon ni Pangulong GMA, nakita na nila na paulit-ulit yung problema natin sa kuryente. Laging brownout, kulang na napoproduce na energy sa buong bansa. Naisip nila na bakit hindi natin fully privatize yung napokor. Tapos i-deregulate yung power industry. Inumpisahan naman na ni Cory, sinundan ni Ramos. Anong mali kung gagawin sa administrasyon ng GMA? Kaya noong 2001, naipasa bilang batas yung EPIRA Law, kung saan inalis mismo ng gobyerno sa kanyang sarili yung kapangyarihan na kontrolin at itakda yung presyo ng kuryente at ibinigay yan buong-buo doon sa pribadong sektor, lalong-lalo na sa mga bilyonaryong negosyante at mga oligarko. Kaya mula noon, inutil na ang gobyerno pagdating sa pagkontrol ng presyo ng kuryente. Ngayon, sino ba yung mga bilyonaryo at mga oligarko na nagkokontrol ng kuryente natin? Unang-una dyan ay ang mga kuwangko. Yan, si Danding Kuwangko, patay na yan. Dating Chief Executive Officer ng San Miguel Corporation. Ang CEO ngayon ng San Miguel, yan, si Ramon Ang. Sunod ay ang pamilya Aboitiz. Sa katauhan nitong taong to, si Daniel Aboitiz, ang Chief Executive Officer ng Aboitiz Power. Pangatlo, ang pamilya Lopez sa katauhan nitong taong to. Siya si Federico Lopez, ang Chief Executive Officer ng First Philippine Holdings Corporation. At alam nyo kung sino ang Department of Energy Secretary? Walang iba kundi ang taong yan, si Rafael Lotilla. Si Rafael Lotilla lang naman ang tao ng mga aboitis, isa sa mga oligarko na kumokontrol ng kuryente natin. Mga boss, yan yung dahilan kung bakit ang mahal-mahal ng kuryente, tapos wala tayong magawa. Paakyo kayo ng mga oligarchs.
Government-owned and controlled corporations, or the GOCCs, have been a significant part of the Philippine economic and social landscape for decades. They were initially established to address specific developmental challenges and provide essential services. However, their growth and role have evolved over time, presenting both opportunities and challenges. The growth of the GOCC sector is traced through the various periods of the Philippine history. The GOCCs before political independence. GOCCs created during the American colonial period were engaged in public transportation and financing. For example, the Manila Railroad Company, or the MRC, and then the Philippine National Bank, or the PNB. The Commonwealth period saw the expansion of the role of the GOCCs to agricultural development. The PNB played an important role in the mobilization of capital for agricultural activities, particularly sugar. Since agriculture dominated economic activity during the period, the GOCCs created were specifically for agricultural and trading. For example is the National Rice and Corn Corporation, the National Abaca and Other Fibers Corporation, the National Coconut Corporation, and the National Trading Corporation. At this point, a single financial institution was found inadequate, especially since PNB catered most exclusively to sugar industry. The Agricultural Industrial Bank, which was absorbed later by the Rehabilitation Finance Corporation, or so-called Development Bank of the Philippines, was thus established in 1938. The post-war period. The period immediately following the war years has been described as a reconstruction period. Relief and rehabilitation was the byword of that era. During this period, there was a significant spurt in the growth of the GOCC sector. There were about 30 GOCCs created from 1945 to 1950. The RFC replaced the Agricultural and Industrial Bank to provide financial assistance to destroyed businesses and establishments, and while the other GOCCs expanded during the post-war period, their role did not change substantially. During the martial law period and the early 1980s, the GOCCs grew not only in number, size, and resources, but also in political clout. The martial law period ushered in dramatic political changes for Philippines, which impacted heavily on the GOCC sector. The consolidation of effective political and economic power, combined with the tremendous push toward development and the interplay of overt and covert motives, resulted in the unprecedented growth of GOCCs. Massive flows of loans and other forms of financing from private banks and international financing institutions are further encouraged by the expansion of GOCCs. We have the factors driving the growth of GOCCs. Several factors have contributed to the expansion of the GOCC sector in the Philippines. Number 1 is the economic development. GOCCs have been instrumental in driving economic growth by investing in infrastructure, promoting industries, and providing essential services. The second one is the social welfare. Many GOCCs have a strong social mandate, providing essential services like healthcare, housing, and social security. The third one is political influence. The creation of GOCCs can be influenced by political considerations, with new corporations often established to address specific electoral promises or to provide patronage opportunities. The last one is the market failures. In sectors where private investment is insufficient or absent, GOCCs can step in to provide essential goods and services. The recent reforms and the way forward. Recognizing the challenges faced by the GOCC sector, the Philippine government has implemented reforms aimed at improving governance, financial performance, and accountability. This includes, number 1, the Governance Commission for GOCCs, or the GCG. So this was established to oversee and improve the performance of GOCCs. The second one is the corporate governance reforms. Implementation of stricter corporate governance standards to enhance transparency and accountability. The third one is the financial discipline. Financial discipline efforts to improve the financial performance of GOCCs through cost-cutting, revenue generation, and asset management. The last one is the privatization and corporatization. The government has considered privatizing or corporatizing some GOCCs to improve efficiency and reduce the government's financial burden. While these reforms are steps in the right direction, the challenges facing the GOCC sector are complex and multifaceted. Balancing the need for public services with the goal of efficient and sustainable operations will continue to be a major challenge for the policymakers here in the Philippines.
GOCCs are government-owned or controlled corporations are organizations that the Philippine government either fully or partially owns. They play various roles in supporting the country's economy, from managing social security to providing essential utilities. In this report, we'll break down the different types of GOCCs, making it easier to understand what they do and how they are organized. Number 1 is chartered GOCC. This is created by specific law or charter passed by the Congress. Think of them as a special government projects with clear mission, usually tied to national goals. They are created through legislation, which means Congress decides their purpose and power. They have a board of directors appointed by the government to guide their operations. They get special perks like tax exemption to help them achieve their goals. Some of the examples are SSS or Social Security System and PCSO, which is Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office. Number 2, the non-chartered GOCC. These corporations are set up under the General Corporation Code, making them more like private companies but with government ownership. They aim to make a profit while still serving the public interest. They are incorporated under the Corporation Code, giving them more flexibility. They operate with a focus on business efficiency but are still subject to government oversight. The examples are Philippine National Oil Company and Land Bank of the Philippines. Government financial institutions. This acts like the government financial partners. They provide loans, insurance, and other financial services to support economic and social programs. They focus on financial services like lending and investments. Their main goal is to fund government projects and support specific sectors through financial products. Examples are Development Bank of the Philippines and Philippine Deposit Insurance corporation. Government corporate entities, they are both operators and regulators, especially in industries like energy and transportation. They run the service while also setting the rules to ensure fair and efficient operations. They manage essential services that people rely on, like electricity and water. At the same time, they regulate these industries to make sure everything runs smoothly and fairly. Examples are National Power Corporation and Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System. The social security institutions are all about social protection. They manage pensions, benefits, and other social security programs to ensure that people are taken care of, whether they are private sector workers or government employees. They handle things like retirement benefits and health insurance. They are funded through contributions from members and sometimes government support. Examples are SSS, GSIS, or the Government Service Insurance System, and PhilHealth. For the utility corporations, they are responsible for making sure essential services like electricity, water, and public transportations are available to everyone. They are focused on keeping these services reliable and affordable. They provide public utilities, often operating as natural monopolies under government regulation. Their job is to make sure everyone has access to these services at a fair price. Examples are National Electrification Administration and Light Rail Transit Authority. The development corporations focus on boosting economic growth either in specific sectors or regions. They often provide work with private companies to bring in investments and create jobs. They are all about promoting economic development and attracting investments. They might manage special economic zones or work on big development projects. Examples are National Development Company and Basis Conversion and Development Authority. A specialized GOCC. They have unique roles that don't fit nearly into other categories. They might be involved in areas like gaming, trade, or charity. They generate revenue for government projects or social causes. They have specialized functions with specific mandates. Examples are Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation and Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office. For the attached agencies, while not a separate classifications, many GOCCs are attached to government departments for policy coordination and oversight. This means they work closely with specific government agencies to ensure their operations align with national policies. These connections helps them stay aligned with government goals and projects. Examples are National Housing Authority and National Irrigation Administration.
Now let's receive the government-owned and controlled corporations or GOCC. These are organizations set up to run businesses while also serving the public. They play a key role in the Philippines by balancing commercial goals with public service. The rules they follow come from Republic Act number 1014-9, known as the GOCC Governance Act of 2011. This law ensures that GOCC operate transparently and efficiently, keeping public interest at the forefront. Let's move on to the Governance Commission for GOCC or GCG. The GCG was created under the same law, which is Republic Act 1014-9, and acts as the main body responsible for regulating GOCC. It has a few key roles like overseeing the selection of directors and trustees, keeping an eye on their performance, reorganizing and streamlining the sector, and setting pay standards to attract and keep talent. These functions are important for making sure that GOCC are well run and effective. Brought in some major reforms to improve how GOCC are managed. One is the fit and proper rule, which ensures that only qualified individuals lead these corporations. They have also introduced the Ownership and Operations Manual, a guide for how GOCC should run day to day. The Code of Corporate Governance sets clear standards for transparency and ethical behavior. Then there is the Performance Evaluation System, or PES, which ties strategy to performance, and the Quality Management System, ISO 9001:2008, which helps boost efficiency. All these reforms work together to promote good governance and improve how GOCC functions. Now let's proceed to the Commission on Audit, or COA. COA has a long history, starting with an executive order in 1899 and evolving through different Philippine constitutions. Today, it is an independent office under the 1987 Constitution. COA's main job is to audit all government revenues and expenditures, including those GOCCs. This role is essential for ensuring that government finances are in order and that everything complies with the law, which is critical for maintaining public trust. For this slide, we will look at the different roles and impact of the GCG and COA. The GCG is responsible for making sure that GOCCs are well governed and strategically managed. It sets the standards and policies that guide their operations. On the other hand, COA handles financial oversight. It audits the finances and ensures everything follows the rules, which is crucial for maintaining financial integrity. So, together, these bodies ensure that GOCC are effectively managed and financially accountable, each contributing to this corporation's overall health and success.
Now, let's move forward and discuss what are the characteristics of a government corporation, or this GOCC, the government-owned and controlled corporation. So first characteristic is to give and take in a way rendering a services but not for free. So what does to give and take really mean? GOCCs are established primarily to serve the public. They provide vital services that are essential for the well-being of citizens. These services can include anything from electricity and water supply to transportation and healthcare and many more. While GOCCs are committed to serving the public, they charge fees for the services they provide. This is where the take part comes in. So these fees are important, such as for operational costs. GOCCs need to cover their expenses such as salaries for employees, maintenance of facilities and infrastructure investments. Charging fees ensures that they can continue to operate efficiently and provide high-quality services, and they also need it for sustainability. By generating revenue, GOCCs can reinvest in their services, improve their offerings, and expand their reach. So, for example, if a GOCC like the Philippine National Railways collect fares from passengers, it can use that money to upgrade trains, improve safety, and expand routes. Now, let's dive into the second characteristic of government-owned and controlled corporations, or the GOCCs in the Philippines. Improve the quality of products and services of the organization. In the context of GOCCs, quality is not just about meeting standards. It's about ensuring that the services provided truly benefit the community. When GOCCs improve their quality, they enhance our lives or the lives of the citizens they serve. This commitment to quality is essential, such as for public trust. High-quality services foster trust between the government and the public. When citizens see that GOCC is committed to providing reliable and efficient services, they are more likely to support and engage with that organization. Next is customer satisfaction. GOCCs aim to meet or exceed customer expectations. By focusing on quality, they can ensure that the services they provide are effective and valuable. For example, if a water utility company consistently delivers clean and safe water, customers will be more satisfied and less likely to seek alternatives. Lastly is accountability. GOCCs are accountable to the public. By improving quality, they demonstrate their commitment to serving the community effectively. This accountability is often measured through customer satisfaction surveys and performance evaluation. Now let's consider a practical example. Let's say the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation or PhilHealth. PhilHealth has made a significant strides in improving the quality of healthcare services through various initiatives, including streamlining claims processing. So one of the implementation of PhilHealth is their project eClaims. As such, in 2011, the corporation launched the eClaims project through PhilHealth Circular Number 14 and Office Order Number 69, which broadly aims to streamline key processes such as eligibility check, claim submission, verification payment in order to serve both members and partner providers better. The eClaims project had 3 phases. So by enhancing their claims processing system, PhilHealth has reduced waiting times for reimbursements, leading to higher satisfaction among healthcare providers and patients. PhilHealth also has made significant strides in improving the quality of healthcare services through expanding coverage. PhilHealth continuously works to expand its coverage and benefits, ensuring that more Filipinos have access to necessary healthcare services. These efforts not only improve the quality of services but also enhance public trust in the organization. So PhilHealth focuses on various programs aimed at increasing accessibility to healthcare services across different demographics. In general, improving the quality of products and services is a fundamental characteristic of DOCCs here in our country. So let's proceed now to the next characteristic of DOCCs, which is to sustain the needs of the public. In our country, the government widely uses government corporations for economic and social development. So GOCCs were created to provide infrastructure, public utilities, and consumer price stabilization services. The COA identified GOCCs in accordance with their involvement in the following sectors. First, agriculture, trading and promotional sector, industrial and area development, educational, social, cultural, scientific, civic and research and financial sector. Government corporations are created as a way of helping to correct market failures. The conditions where GOCCs are expected to operate are, first, we have in cases where private sector is unwilling to provide goods and services vital to society, such as the construction of large infrastructure, for example, roads and ports. Second, when there is a need to create bias in favor of disadvantaged sector of society in a free market operation, such as distribution of staples like rice and sugar. Third, to spur the development of strategic activities with wide-ranging economic impact. And lastly, natural monopolies which government wants to control to protect the consumers. GOCC's primary mission is to ensure that essential services are available to everyone, especially those who need them most. This includes providing essential services that may not be adequately supplied by the private sector. GOCCs are like the safety net for our communities. They provide vital services such as water supply, companies like Water District to ensure that every household has access to clean drinking water. Next is electricity. Cooperatives like Conoreco provide reliable electricity, which is essential for homes, schools, and businesses. And also for healthcare, PhilHealth helps cover medical expenses, making healthcare more accessible for all Filipinos. In a nutshell, sustaining the needs of the public is a core characteristic of GOCCs here in the Philippines. They are not just service providers, they are partners in community development and our well-being. And now let's discuss the last characteristic of GOCCs, which is they do not have any activities that are in competition with private sector. GOCCs are established primarily to provide essential services that the private sector may not adequately supply, especially in areas where there are market failures. Their main goal is to serve the public interest, not to compete with private companies for profit. The concept of competitive neutrality means that GOCCs should operate on a level playing field with private businesses. They should not receive preferential treatment or advantages that could undermine private sector competition. This ensures that both sectors can thrive without unfair advantages or disadvantages. But why is this important? By not competing directly with private companies, GOCCs allow the private sector to grow. This encourages entrepreneurship and innovation, which are vital for our economic growth. If GOCCs were to compete aggressively, it could hold back private investment and lead to market monopolies. When GOCCs concentrate on providing services that are not profitable for private companies, they fulfill a critical role in society. For example, they may provide utilities in remote areas where private companies may not find it economically viable to operate. This ensures that all citizens have access to essential services regardless of their location. So let me give you a practical example of this principle, which is the Philippine National Railways, or the PNR. While PNR provides essential transportation services, it does so in a way that complements rather than competes with private transportation providers. By focusing on commuter services, especially in areas where private transport is limited, PNR ensures that it meets public transportation needs without undermining private bus or taxi services. So in conclusion, the characteristic of GOCCs not engaging in activities that compete with the private sector is important for promoting a healthy economic environment. And that concludes my discussion about what are the characteristics of GOCCs, or the government-owned and controlled corporation. So in general, GOCCs are essential in promoting social equity and ensuring that vital services are available to all of us, or to all Filipinos. Their commitment to public service, quality improvement, and community engagement underscores their importance in the nation's development. I hope this discussion has provided you with a clearer understanding of the significance of GOCCs in our society.
What is tax exempt? Tax exempt is the legal right of an organization or individual to get an exemption or reduction to the taxes they owe to the BIR, but provided that they meet certain requirements. Those entitled to tax exemptions are then issued with Certificate of Tax Exemption, or the CTE, as a proof that they are not required to pay certain taxes. What is Section 30 of the National Internal Revenue Code? Tax exempt under Section 30 must not be organized or operated for the benefits of private interests, such as individuals, incorporator or his family, or shareholder of the organization, or person controlled directly or indirectly by such private interests. So, by that, the organization must serve a public rather than a private purpose. So, in other words, to qualify as non-stock or non-profit organization, association, or corporations exempt from tax, that it must demonstrate that its earning or asset shall not be inured to the benefits of its trustee, organizers, or officers, members, or any specific person. Under Section 30 of Tax Code, the following organization shall not be taxed in respect to income received by them. The first one is Mutual Savings Bank, not having capital stock represented by shares, and Cooperative Bank without capital stock, organized and operated for mutual purposes and without profit. Under Section 30 of National Internal Revenue Code of 1997, outlines which organizations are exempt from tax. So, the non-stock savings and loan associations, as well as cooperative banks, are exempt under specific laws because they serve mutual and cooperative purposes rather than generating profits for its shareholders. So, these institutions provide financial services to their members and reinvest any earnings to benefit their members, so which aligns with their non-profit and community-focused goals. And for the second one, beneficiary, society, order, or association operating for the exclusive benefits of the members, such as fraternal organization operating under the lodge system, or a mutual aid association, or a non-stock corporation organized by employees providing for the payment of life, sickness, accident, or other benefits that exclusively to the members of such society, order or association, or non-stock corporation or their dependents. So therefore, it is a tax exempt, as it supports social welfare and reduces the government's burden by providing essential services like affordable insurance and foster community engagement. The third one is cemetery owned and operated exclusively for the benefit of its members. The company must operated solely for the burial purposes and not permitted by its charter to engage in any business that not necessarily incident to that purpose. So the earnings of the company may be used for the operation and the improvement of the cemetery. The next one is non-stock corporations or associations that focus on religious. So examples of religious is Catholic Church, and charitable or some example of this is Bsba foundations, and cultural purposes, scientific and athletic or helping veterans are exempt from income tax because they are set up to serve the public goods rather than make profits for individuals. For example, St. Luke's is exempted from tax for being a non-stock corporation or organization, and they exclusively operated for social welfare purposes. Number 5 is Business League, Chamber of Commerce, or Board of Trade, not organized for profit and no part of the net income of which inures to the benefit of any private stockholder or individuals. The exemptions is granted because their activities are considered to be beneficial to the general public as they help improve the business environment, foster economic development, and they provide services that enhance industry standards. Civic league or organizations not organized for profit but operated exclusively for the promotions of social welfare. It is a tax exempt because it has no net earnings or assets which inure to the benefit of any members, officers, or organizers. The next one is a non-stock and non-profit educational institution. For example, UST is exempt from tax. It's because for being a non-stock and non-profit educational institution. So, UST income is used primarily for educational purposes. So, these tax exemptions supports its missions of providing quality educations and contributing to public welfare. Number 8 is government educational institutions. Example for this is the UP or the University of the Philippines as National University. So it has been granted from tax exemptions under Republic Act number 9500. So the grant is exceedingly extensive that it provided the university from tax exemptions from all duties and taxes. So all revenues in asset used for educational purposes. Farmers or other mutual tycoon or fire insurance companies, mutual or cooperative telephone company, or like organizations of a purely local character, the income of which consists solely of assessments, dues, and fees collected from members for the sole purpose of meeting its expenses. So, it is a tax exempt under Section 30. For example, a mutual tycoon insurance cooperative formed by farmers collects small monthly assessment from each members. So, these funds are then used to assess the members in case of typhoon that damaging their crops. However, the income of whatever kind and character of the above corporations or organizations from any of their properties, real or personal, or from any of their activities conducted for profit is regardless of the dispositions made of such income shall be subject to tax imposed under this code.
So, in line with the economic contribution of government enterprises in the Philippines, first is it tackles about the growth of public enterprises outside of centrally planned economies and wherein it become prominent in the recent years, particularly in the case of Third World. So, considering the rise of public enterprises, this report examines the role played by these entities in the Philippine development. So, public enterprises refers to the corporations which are wholly owned or controlled by the government. So, government-owned and controlled corporations play a pivotal role in the economic landscape of the Philippines. So, as entities established by the government to undertake business activities, these enterprises are integral to the country's development, offering a range of contributions that span revenue generation, infrastructure development, employment, public service provision, economic stability, and investment diversification. So, second is securing financial market. So, there has been significant improvement in the terms of financial stability and to a certain extent efficiency in the Philippine financial markets. So, they are on a sustained path towards improving their financial depth and accessibility. So, the Philippine government contributes significantly to securing the financial markets in the several key ways. First, investor confidence. So, by promoting transparency, accountability, and investors' protection, the government builds trust, encouraging both domestic and foreign investment. Second, financial inclusion. So, initiatives to improve access to financial services and support small and medium-sized enterprises enhances the economic participation and stimulate growth. Third, economic growth. So, securing a financial market ensures an efficient capital allocation to productive investment and support infrastructure projects, driving economic growth. So, fourth, institutional stability. So, institutional stability regulations are supervisions of financial institutions. So, along with the deposit of insurance, it prevents failures and systematic risk, maintaining the stability of the financial system. Third is regulating industry. What is regulation in an economic system? Regulation in an economic system is the rules and enforcement of the rules that limit economic actions of the organization. As we all know, governments are responsible for developing regulations, and government regulation is present to varying degrees in all economies. Aside from that, regulations impact the economy by establishing fair pricing rules. So, in addition to regulating financial markets, governments also regulate any industry as a whole in order to support the economic growth. So, often, it is attempting to curb the monopolies or when a single seller dominates a market. So, government also sets safety standards for products to protect consumers. So, they regulate working conditions to protect the health and safety of the workers. So, how the regulation occurs depends on what type of the industry it is. So, for example, government may regulate the money supply in the banking industry to prevent the bank runs. So, they may say factories can dump their toxic waste in the rivers to prevent catastrophic ecological damage. So, governments often choose to set strict rules and guidelines in virtually in any industry in order to promote the economic growth. First, creating a stable businesses environment. So, under that, there is regulatory framework. So, the government establishes and enforces regulations that provide a stable and predictable business environment. So, this includes rules on businesses operation, environmental protection, labor and standard, and financial practices. So, stability and regulations helps attract both local and foreign investors, boosting the economic growth. So, for the consumer's protection, regulations safeguard consumers by ensuring the product's safety, quality, and fair pricing. So, consumer protection laws, such as those enforced by the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI and other agencies, help maintain the trust in the market, which is crucial for economic activity. Second is promoting fair competition. Under that, there is a anti-monopoly regulations. So, the government regulates industries to prevent monopolies and promote fair competition. So, the Philippine Competition Commission or PCC oversees the enforces laws that prevents anti-competitive practices such as price fixing and abuse of market powers. So this encourages innovations and helps keep prices in check, so benefiting consumers and businesses alike. So under that, there is also market entry and licensing. So regulations on market entry, licensing, and permit ensures that businesses operate within a structured framework. So this can help prevent a market saturation, reduce illegal activities, and ensures that businesses meets the quality and the safety standard. Fourth is investing in infrastructure. So the Philippine government investment in infrastructure have a profound economic implications, driving growth, creating jobs, enhancing connectivity, and supporting sustainable development. So, by investing in infrastructure, the government lays the foundation for a more dynamic, efficient, and equitable economy. So, government plays a crucial role in supporting the economic growth by creating capital through the redirection of public funds to invest in major public projects. So they prioritize infrastructure, which includes both soft and hard infrastructure, such as financial institutions, law enforcement, and healthcare system. So therefore, infrastructure development is closely linked to, first, innovation. So governments also finances major technology projects such as expanding broadband and building more charging stations for electrical vehicles. Second is industrial growth. Includes a system in order to connect people within a country. Example, it includes roads, highways, bridges, and electrical grids. So last, sustainable development. In addition to infrastructure, government invests in education to create skilled citizens who are better prepared for societal productivity. So, research has shown that a better educated society leads to less crime, improved public health, and great civic engagement. So, government often redirect the public funds to invest in these projects, ensuring that they are able to finance and invest in most important aspects of a country's economy.
The sale and disposal of government corporations in the Philippines is a structured process governed by various laws and regulations. So we have the key steps involved. Number one is the approval and authorization. The sale or disposal of government corporations requires the approval of appropriate government authorities. This often involves the Department of Budget and Management and the Commission on Audit. Second is the valuation and assessment. The assets and properties of the corporation are assessed and valued. This ensures that the government receives fair compensation for the assets being sold or disposed. The third one is public bidding. The sale is typically conducted through a public bidding process to ensure transparency and competitiveness. This process is outlined in the revised manual on the disposal of government properties. The fourth one is the approval of sale. Once a winning bid is selected, the sale must be approved by the relevant authorities, including the board of directors and stockholders if applicable. The fifth one is the transfer of ownership. After approval, the ownership of the assets is transferred to the winning bidder. This includes the execution of necessary documents and payment of the agreed price. The last one is the reporting and documentation. The entire process is being documented and reported to ensure accountability and compliance with the government regulations. We also have the relevant laws and regulation involving the sale and disposal of government corporations. Number one is the Philippine Constitution, Article 12, Section 20 on the Charter of Government-Owned and Controlled Corporation. The second one is the Government Corporation Governance Act or the Republic Act number 10149. It outlines the governance framework for government corporations. The third one is the revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, which governs the incorporation, organization, and dissolution of corporations. Lastly is the specific laws and regulations governing particular government corporations.